Dear students, today we are going to talk about the preparation of a business plan. So there are two main topics for today. The process and details of the first venture plan preparation. We must grasp the importance of compiling the second business plan. You have to realize that. So let's first look at what it looks like. Write our business plan. So it has a couple of basic core processes. The first is a summary of the business plan. A summary can be said to be a copywriting document, a paper or a project reports on one of its core aspects, which means we open the copy. When we saw the summary, I'll be able to see your entire copy and the core of it. The second is the description of the business. Description of business. It is mainly to make it specific. Some of the business segments involved in it. The general content of the business distill it. So let our readers know in advance. Know what the main content is covered in it. The following teacher gives a case. So in the next few sessions, the teacher will tell you the same case. So this case, it's about an early learning center. One of its founding at the beginning. The main content of the business plan they write. You seem to be in this business plan. He mentioned it in advance. In their design of early education, he did it by displaying data to express the inevitability and necessity of the establishment of our early education center. And some of his basic conditions. What are the conditions? The second is products and services. This is part of our business plan. A core content. Because eventually you have to start a business. You have to face the market. Face competition. With what to face? Is to take your product and your service to face. So in this place, the key must be mentioned. Products and services. Be sure to describe it clearly. Accurate description. So in the case, since he is doing early learning center, so take his teaching material as products and services provided for readers or investors to watch. So it involves some parent-child education, sensory system design and so on. This is all part of his teaching. Fourth, market industry and competition analysis. This is also very important. In the preceding second chapter, the teacher mentioned, if the business disconnected from the environment, out of the race, cut oneself off from society, then the enterprise is not established. So we have to analyze it well. The state of our industry, the state of the market and the state of our competition, especially the state of our competition and the state of our industry, because of the industry. It determines a scale of your future development. And the competition is what determines whether you survive. In the case, he also mentioned their location. Why choose Guanshan Lake? Because he will consider political conditions, economic conditions, also take into account industry conditions. There are also competitive conditions to consider. When the conditions are finally ripe, they found that Guanshan Lake is the most suitable place to open an early education center. Fourth, let's look at the market industry and competitive analysis. Previous chapter. The teacher mentioned, if an enterprise is isolated from the environment, detachment from the market, then this enterprise it is not established. So we were at the beginning of the business. Pay particular attention to market analysis, industry analysis and competitive analysis, especially industry and competition. Industry, it determines your future development trend, scale of development, and the competition is what determines whether you survive. So the first one, let's see. What is it that must be analyzed? That's your target market, because ultimately the production of our enterprise, services provided, it all stems from a demand situation in this market. So due to market demand, let's look at the final consumer group. Where is our target market? Make sure you know this one. You are like in this case. Where is he going to locate the early learning center? What kind of consumers? What kind of service does it provide? Why did he choose this area? He did an analysis to political and economic education, including people's consumption level, detailed categories of consumption, how many of them are in education, and how many early learning centers are there in this area. So we settled on Guanshan Lake. The second is to do an industry analysis. Industry, it actually determines your future development trend. This is closely related to our enterprise strategic planning. So we need to understand the industry. What is its total sales? What is the total income? So in this industry, What are the specific factors affecting the industry? Make sure you know. You are like in this case. He did a market background check. Is to investigate. This early education center is located in the whole city of Guiyang. The development of the industry. How many competitors? What is their overall revenue profile? How many consumers? These parents or students? He was willing to accept it. He wants to make a thorough investigation. Just doing industry research. The third is competitive analysis. Competitive analysis is important. But in the meantime, here's an aside. Students must remember, competing for it is not life or death. In fact, competition also has a cooperative relationship. But what's more important? Position yourself in a competitive relationship. Position yourself clearly in the market. Identify our core competencies. Identify our target market. In this case, he brought it up at the early learning center. How's he doing at the other early learning centers? At the same time, he also wants to expand what industries, which enterprises and our early education center he interwoven. For example, some training centers, kindergarten, he mentioned it all. So where are they now? Compare with us. So where is this competition? Where is the point of competition? He did a detailed analysis. The fifth is business strategy. So business strategy, in the process of our establishment and development. How to manage it in detail. Be sure to pay attention when operating, such as our relevant qualifications, the construction of our team, including our entire administrative structure, the construction of governance structure and so on. These are all part of our business strategy. Of course, it must be mentioned here, our corresponding products and services, how to operate, how to manage. So we can see, in the case, also an early learning center. Then he mentioned, he looks at several stages in the business process.
Because space is limited. So the teacher only mentioned an early stage. And what specific work is he going to do in the early days?
This is his overall business strategy. Sixth is the management team. It can be said that the team is the core of the entire management process. Because ultimately all businesses develop. It's push. The most behind the driving force is actually people and talents. So the management team, when we were founded, make sure you choose well. It has to be built. Like in an early learning center, he just put himself in a formulated structure. Get it out. At the same time, add the corresponding people to him. Also due to limited space. The teacher didn't list it. He's still behind this guy. Put each person's specific resume. And the positions he's qualified for. They're all listed here. In this case, we can go from Radish to Pitt. The most famous team. We can see, like Journey to the West, Tang monk teacher and disciple for people alike. That is, everyone can divide their labor, can be sorted into categories, and they can work together as well as divide. The seventh is the financial forecast budget. We can put it this way. Finance is always the core of the enterprise, cannot lose a thing. Because ultimately he wants to make a profit. He wants to calculate the cost. So this thing can't even get out of finance. So in the financial forecast, there are a few things that need to be covered. Let's say we have 3 years of historical data. So the development plan for the next 3 years. And the total investment, including the way we finance it, including the amount we invest and so on. These should be included in our financial projections. You look like this early learning center. He was founded at the beginning. He made a 5-year plan. How much money will be invested in these 5 years? How much capital is formed? To achieve how much profit? To what scale? He has to have that budget. The eighth is a structure of our capital. Take your approach to financing. Include the structure of your funds. So how do you differentiate? How to optimize? This is all very important. Whether we are a sole proprietorship partnership, it's a corporation. So let's look at the structure of this capital. Be very clear. It is not just a question of investment. It also involves specific operational time is a problem. If the capital structure is unclear. So this property right we have. Investment power. It's not clear. Including ownership will be unclear. So the capital structure must be clear. The ninth is an exit for investors. There are several ways to exit. Like an equity listing, transfer of equity, share buybacks and profit dividends and so on. All of which could be a mechanism for his exit. then quit. In fact, in order to better let the enterprise to develop, just like us in China, including many well-known companies in the United States, he can go public. It can also be delisted. In many cases he delisted, just looking for a better opportunity to start a business, and then build another better company, listing again. Then it was delisted again, like an early learning center. He also chose such a financing with equity. But there is also an exit mechanism for him, because he's not listed. So ultimately, he did it in the form of stock dividends and share buybacks. Take the equity from the shareholders and buy it back. The 10th is risk analysis. Since our enterprises face competition in society, it also faces complicated politics, changes in the economic environment. So taking risks is essential. But we must do it in advance. Corresponding risk analysis. Make plans and records. We cannot avoid risks, but we can minimize the negative effects of risk. Good, classmates, and that's what we're talking about today. So what we're going to talk about today, it's our entire business plan. It's a programmed process, and some very important parts of it. Please calm down. Be sure to review carefully and repeatedly. Here's a question for you to think about. Michel Ice City. What is the secret of his success? Think about it. Good, classmates, that's all for today's lesson. Thank you all.